with the car of Tom Webb having picked up the lead of the race on the right close down. But the pressure conference changed it. Snail place as they go through the corners. Chasing nice Lamborghini under pressure as they exit the Nelson. Still the Lamborghini on the orange Porsche. But now Richard Chamberlain takes up the lead of the race, heading in towards Coram. He grabbed the lead of the race, puts Porsche through. And ahead of the quick starting Lamborghini, it is Graham Tilley's car, the Nissan that's there in third position. Fourth place is now Graham DeZiel that sits there in fourth place. And Chris Murphy is there in fifth position by the look of things. Not unsurprising, one of the lesser powered cars isn't struggling to the same degree in these tricky conditions. And Chris is a fairly experienced driver nowadays. Not that many years ago he seemed to have a novice cross on the back, but he's done a lot of racing the last few years, John Simpson, hasn't he, in this and in other championships as well. Chris Murphy, he's come on well. Through they all
Brent
go.
Village is in.
Brent Village is in, not surprising. That's for a change to wets, I'm guessing, or is it a problem?
No, it looks like that's going to be a change. Tyres are also here ready for the Webb's Lamborghini by the looks of it as well.
Yeah, it's really not surprising. So Brett Millage is in to change to wets. Everybody else is still out there and on slick tyres in very much deteriorating conditions. I think the number 27 Ferrari, which was Lucky Cristoforo, I think that was late on parade because I think they had opted to put that car onto wets at the beginning, and the sector times, considering it's only just come out of the pit lane, would suggest that that's the case because it's just done a purple second and third sector job, which tells you all you need to know, doesn't it?
It does either incredible bravery or the right sort of tyres, yes. I think now it's looking rather as though you're going to be very brave to stay out much longer on these, but they might have a go till halfway, but I think it's going to be a challenge.
It's going to be a huge challenge if it keeps doing what it's doing, and it certainly looks as though it's closing in more, doesn't it? The lux level's dropping, the cloud level is coming down as well, so I think the vast majority of the teams are going to be poised and ready to change tyres, and for some of these teams, they've got the equipment to do it quite quickly, John. For others, it's going to take them longer. Chris Dawes, what news?
Yeah, I just got up with Adam Carroll, and he was saying that, yeah, Lassie thinks that he may have actually just had a small spin on the warm-up lap, which of course then meant he was at the back of the field anyway, and so therefore just called it straight in. Decided it's clearly too slippy for the slicks. Changed on to the wets, and they are the first one to blink by the looks of it. Brent Village has done it. Check something else out because outside Dale Shell garage are slicks, so that suggests that there's a possibility for the
Yeah, have a word with either Will or Jeff Steele, who'll be in that area of the pit lane. So here comes Richard Chamberlain over the start-finish line. Through he goes. Third is Del Shelton. So I think that probably, again, let's look where Del Shelton, yeah, I think that probably tells you all you need to know. Again, that Del Shelton has just posted the best lap of the race that we've seen so far, and I'm pretty convinced that also they made the right call there. Jeff Steele has got more experience than most people could shake a stick at, but if that's the call, that is a very good call, isn't it, from them at the start of the race again?
So how are the lap times going between the ones who have got slicks and the ones who don't know how they can wait?
About 10 seconds different at the moment. What news, Chris?
19 in, 6 is in, so Graham Tilley and the DeZiels. It looks like John Seale's coming in to change as well. The John Whitehouse, Steve Ruston McLaren. I can confirm that the Fraser Smart and James Simmons, number 41, the Golf livery Lotus Evora, that started on wets. They changed in the assembly area. He reckons there's probably about 3 that were already on wets because they decided on it when they went out, and 3 that changed in the assembly area. That does look like Dale Shelton's one of those that went out on wets as well. So we've kind of got a mixed bag. This is going to throw this one absolutely up in the air.
The whole thing wide open. So as you say, Graham Tilley, number 6 in the pit lane, number 19, which is Graham DeZiel in the pit lane. The number 19 Ferrari of Graham DeZiel has already been serviced by FF Corsa, so he's already out there. John Seal in the pit lane. Number 44, John Whitehouse rather, giving way to Steve Rushton midway through the race in the pit lane. And also number 51 is in, which is Frank Mortensen. So, as Chris Storr suggested, John, you've had consistency all season in terms of the weather, but when it came midway through the race, then it's really
going to be a big split between Chamberlain and Tom Webb, I think, because they're still making relatively good progress.
Well, Richard Chamberlain has just gone down the Bentley straight quicker than anybody else has done, which if you're in that car and on slick tyres, is hugely, hugely brave. Richard Chamberlain. Del Shenton has just gone slightly quicker with the vehicle car than Richard Chamberlain.
The Webbs are coming in very shortly. Chamberlain's coming in as well.
Right, okay, so Richard Chamberlain heads for the pit lane. The queue of cars in the pit lane. So Richard Chamberlain, John, he's one of the smaller teams. How many people are in to help Richard Chamberlain change four tyres on that car?
At least one.
Yeah, not many.
Not very many, no.
I did think, yeah. So Graham Tilley now exits the pit lane in his Nissan. Tom Webb comes in at the wheel of what was briefly the race-leading Lamborghini. Goes up onto the air jacks. Team Webb go to work to already get the front tyres off that Lamborghini. The wets are going on. They'll then tighten those up. Into the pit lane also comes one of the Team Hard Ginettas as well into the pit lane.
21.
Thank you. Which is going to be Josh Jackson.
David Franklin's coming in as well in the 911, 911. Apart from the half a dozen that sort of rolled the dice, well, they're feeling a bit smug, aren't they?
They'll be feeling very smug, but they'll put themselves in a very, very strong position. And I suppose that's the thing, isn't it? If you're out there on a slick tyre, there becomes a point at which that slick tyre isn't the tyre to have. And if you don't make the decision on one lap, you leave it another lap. You end up losing 15 seconds in slick conditions, and now so bad, a slick tyre you'd struggle to get around a corner on a slick tyre out there in this.
Yeah, I think a little bit depends on what this weather does leading up to the pit stop window. That's going to be another very critical point in this game too. Because if it does start drying out, and they have to get through to the pit stop window, and if it dries out, then they're going to route their wets. So there's an awful lot of team management thinking going on here. It does, however, look rather as it might be some light drizzle all the way through now.
I think you're right, yeah. I think we're stuck with this. Remember, it's a 50-minute race. The pit window doesn't open until between the 24th and the 35th minute of the race. Porsche, the GT4 car, the number 54 car in the hands of the drivers racing. Championship. David Franklin is in the number 21 Ginetta, and Josh Jackson has just been waved out by Team Hard, so that exits the pit lane. Richard Chamberlain exits the pit lane, now changed onto a full set of Pirelli wet tyres with his Porsche 935, but this is basically it to make that as the driver, the team that had all of that foresight at the beginning of the race to put the car on the wet in the assembly area. Del Shenton in the Group GTB BMW leads the race at this stage, and second in the race at the moment is number 72, which is the Aston Martin of Chris Murphy. That was another car job that must have started on wet, mustn't it? Wander down and
what was that?
Chris Murphy must have started on wet again.
I would imagine, judging the people I've spoken to here, and the fact that there was probably about half a dozen, there's every chance that he will have done. I got the impression that actually in that first race is that Mal Samford, the problem that he had in the early stages, well, in the whole of the 25-minute race, was that he actually was on wets on that last race. So I hope he hasn't made the decision the other way this time. That would hurt, wouldn't it? Number 3's in as well, by the way.
Yeah, number 3 is in, and number 79 is in as well. So Sander Mortensen and Chris Proser deciding that, yeah, you just can't do it anymore. You've got to come into the pit lane and change them all onto wet tyres. they've done well to get as far as they have in reality, but that now means that the last two cars which need to change onto wets. Chris?
Just to also, by the looks of it, update, because I asked Jock and he said no tomorrow, is that Warren Gilbert is actually race suited up, so he's clearly going to be taking over this car at the pit stop as well. Great.
In reality, yeah, the last 30 seconds turn on, the car would either change the wet on the assembly area or change the wet on reality the green flag. Del Sheridan, Chris Murphy, 30 seconds. 15 seconds between them. Scarlett's third is the quickest car out there, and that changed after a spin on the warm-up lap number 27, which is lacking Cristoforo. 2 minutes 20.121 and Lackey has just posted, which gives that car the fastest lap of the race so far. Fourth is number 41, which is James Simons at the wheel of the Lotus Evorus, and that must be another car again, which I think Chris alluded to, that changed onto its wet tyres in the assembly area, so that's now why that is now so far up the order. But the order is still short. It's playing Lackey Cristoforo now ahead of Chris Murphy's Aston Martin after Ferrari up into second place. It was 11 seconds quicker than the race leader Del Sheridan's BMW on that lap, and is only 6.5 seconds behind it, so we're going to see very shortly that Ferrari take up the lead of the race. And when you see it at the pace that it's got in the hands of Lackey Cristoforo, that Ferrari jockey is going to the Irishman part two of the race, and that Ferrari's looking strong, isn't it?
It's looking very strong indeed. I was actually just looking at how Richard Chamberlain's getting on now. He's just put in a 2:24, which is about the second quickest out there at the moment. So he's coming online, as we hope.
Yeah, the order's going to keep shuffling, isn't it? Richard Chamberlain seemed to be going a little bit slowly there, I thought, round through Holley's corner, but I think he's just treading gingerly, still rightly so in these conditions with so much power underneath your right foot. As for the lead of the race, well, Del Sheridan still continues to lead. He's just splashing his way round through Oggies now, but Lackey Cristoforo at the wheel of the Ferrari is closing in here. So on towards Williams goes Del Sheridan. His lead is going to be short-lived, I think, here, but great work by by still racing on that car on the west. At the start of the race, he heads down the Bentley straight, and Lackey Cristoforo is closing. Are we going to have a change of lead when they head underneath the bridge in towards Brundle and Nelson, or is the BMW still going to be ahead? It looks as though, no, Lackey Cristoforo now having the 9.93 seconds is the fastest lap of the race. It is quicker than anything else he's really sitting out there. So Lackey doing a good job. He's got lots of racing experience, but not much in modern GT machinery, really, has he? He came into the championship sort of last year, wasn't it?
But where their race cars is the fact they got Adam Carroll lurking in the background to do the second half of the race.
That is a very nice thing to have up your sleeve, isn't it? So already having taken the lead, he's pulled out 5 seconds. Just already. So when he was 11 seconds quicker, Del Sheridan on that lap alone. What news, Chris?
It's just to update the situation, because obviously we knew that Warren Gilbert was out and the grid shows, but the suspicion was it's tomorrow. Actually, the reason why the confusion is that it's not definite he's going out either day. It is all about seeing how Frank Mortensen feels when he comes in for his pit stop, both today and tomorrow, and if he wants Warren to jump in, he will. So they'll be pulling a bit of a webs on us.
I'm going to say that. I was just about to say they're doing a web, are they?
They are.
A bit fluid, yeah, so we don't know what's going on there. So we'll wait and see. We'll have to keep an eye towards whether there is a change of driver there. Now up to 4th has come Tom Webb at the wheel of number 13. So it's Lamborghini 23.008. Lamborghini, not quite the quickest car out there, probably about the second quickest car out there. The quickest car we've got at the moment on the last lap that they've just done is Richard Chamberlain, who has posted a 2 minute 21.211. Richard Chamberlain, so he's going well at this stage. at the wheel of that orange Porsche, but just goes to show the damage that was done really, because he was leading the race at the point at which the first few cars came into the pit lane. He decided to start the slicks for a few laps later. Now down in ninth place.
And he can give Jamie Stanley something to work with. A bit of way to go. He's doing what he has to do to get to the way.
First third of it, he'd gone quicker than anybody has gone in the race so far, carried more speed through the speed trap as well. He was a little bit slower through the middle sector, but again, the important part, down through the speed trap, he had the speed, so can the number 27 Ferrari pop in another new flag trap of the race. The answer is it goes through. So the start to declining, and 2 minutes 18.364 now for Lucky Christopher gives the Ferrari an improved fastest lap of the race. Chris.
Yep, I can confirm that both of the Aston Martins 10 and 72, Mal Sanford and Chris Murphy, did indeed start on wet tyres, and I can also confirm what I suspected was the case in the sprint race earlier, is that they decided to throw a dice and put Mal out on wets for the sprint race, and of course that didn't play out because it just kept drying. I thought I saw it looking for wet patches on the circuit. This time, thankfully, it did make the race look right cool, and both of them went out on wets, and it's working.
And it worked beautifully well because Mal Sanford is in fifth place. Let's give you a full rundown of the order as we approach the half an hour to go mark. Number 27, Lucky Christoforou leads by exactly 20 seconds, 20.000 seconds from number 71, Del Shenton, who's there in second place. Third place is number 72, Chris Murphy, but he's a further 32 seconds adrift of Del Shenton. And in fourth place, now just 4 seconds off that, but likely to move to third at the end of the lap, is the number 13 BMW of Tom Webb. Fifth place is number 10, which is Mal Sanford. In fact, he's actually now dropped down from fifth place to sixth because the 19, which is the Ferrari of Graham Seal, has gone through on that lap. So the Ferrari is up to fifth. The Aston Martin, number 10, is now down into sixth position. Seventh position is the number 41 Lotus, which for the first part of the race is in the hands of James Simons, and he should be front finish in eighth place. Ninth place. John Seal's Lamborghini, because John Seal was in 10th at the beginning of the lap, wasn't that far behind, so the order is still shuffling. We've got what, 20 minutes of the race still gone, so 4 minutes before the pit window opens. Now if you're an am combination, John, that does not really look good. If you're a pro am combination, you get the
That won't help the functioning.
No, it won't, will it? No.
I will return.
Yeah, Jock's dropping bits. There we go, side by side over the start-finish line. That is John Seal about to overtake the Porsche of Richard Chamberlain, but Richard Chamberlain having none of it. So the orange Porsche fights back. Still ahead of the Lamborghini. Ninth and 10th positions. And amazingly, even though that's 9th and 10th positions, that's actually the lead of Group GTO. So down in 9th and 10th positions. I don't think we probably had a lead battle in GTO so far down, but that's all to do with the tyres and the changing conditions, which will be improving a little bit now. Still wet down there. Wet tyres are the way to go. Still, but it does seem to have, is it my eyes, or brightened up slightly?
I think it's brightened up because there's not much rain hitting the glass here either, so what do you do at this time?
I think the only thing you can do at the moment, looking at the spray that's coming up still, is leave the cars on wet, because you would think...
Oh, there is a dryish line there, Mark.
There is a drier line, isn't there? Yeah. Is it going to dry up though? I think for me, I'd stay out there on wet. If it starts drying up, very early on, you find it in the wet patches. It would be fun.
Maybe white.
It would be fun in six. We have indeed now had the number 13 Lamborghini of Tom Webb go ahead of Chris Murphy. That was the inevitable that was always going to happen, as the quicker cars are now catching those that have the foresight to go out on wet. In first place, Seal, I would have thought, before too much longer, because the lap from Chris Murphy was at 2:38. 15 seconds quicker than 12 seconds down the road. 19 Ferrari. And I think that by the end of this lap, we'll see another shuffle in the order. The pit window, though, is now only a couple of minutes away from opening. See as to who is going to be the first to dive into the pit lane. Black and Chris Murphy, race leader, back over the top. Because he's got to hand over to the pro driver Adam Carroll. He will be blisteringly quick in these conditions. Lackey's not a slouch at all. He is still lapping in the 2:18s. 2:18.7 from him last time through. The best lap he's done, and the fastest lap of the race is a 2:18.3.
Lackey's got 15 seconds of success to the daily win.
That's correct, yeah.
Not quite sure what
At the moment, so you can't tell, still Snetterton has to come back over the start finish line. You should have plenty of time. Yeah, we have to wait for Del Shelton and the BMW to come back over the start finish line to give you the physical gap. So through he goes. The gap from Ferrari to BMW is 8 seconds that the Ferrari leads by. And all of that was down to, again, driver and team opting to pit the car at the end of the formation lap to stick it on the wet tyres. So the Ferrari leads by 48 seconds from Del Shelton's BMW, that is now only 11 seconds ahead of the Webb's Lamborghini, Tom Webb's car, but the Lamborghini was 15 seconds quicker on that lap. So Tom Webb driven number 13 Lamborghini was second by the end of the lap.
Yeah, Del Shelton's also got 15 seconds success seconds as well, so that sort of even itself out.
It should do, shouldn't it? Yeah. Chris Murphy has lost the other place to the Graham DeVille Ferrari, so that's number 19 Ferrari now in fourth place. Number 72 Aston Martin drops down into fifth position. Will Sanford in sixth, Martin. Corrective pit window is now open, so that means that we can now see at any point any of these cars filing their way towards the pit lane.
Well, I was just going to throw in the intriguing part that you guys were sort of cottoning on to, is that I can actually confirm it has stopped raining.
Yeah. That could make it very, very interesting indeed. Thank you, Chris, before over the start finish line. New fastest lap of the race yet again. 17.197 race leading. 27 Ferrari. So that means that he's lapping the second quickest car. Richard Chamberlain's the second quickest car that we've got out there. But because he pitted so late, he's still down in ninth place. But we do have somebody in the pit lane, and it looks as though John Seal is in. Hand over to pro driver Jamie Stanley to see what they can do to propel that car up through the order, Chris.
Sorry, say that again?
John Seal is in to hand the car over to Jamie Stanley.
He is indeed, yeah, he's down the far end. I was just sort of catching up with the very smart James Simmons, and someone's told them that there's actually a drying line appearing out on the track already, such as the efficiency of the wet weather tyres. And so they're going like, don't tell us that, we got to make a decision. Also coming in is the John Whitehouse, Steve Ruston McLaren as well. Of course, it's, they don't have to rush excessively, do they?
No, they have plenty of time just to do what they need to do to either wipe the inside of the windscreen on some of them, because steaming up again might be an issue on some of these cars. So you've got two in now. We're going to see Lackey Christoforou dive for the pit lane at the end of this lap to hand it over to his pro driver, which is Adam Carroll.
Yeah, it looks like both Ferraris, the crews are getting ready for their guys to come in. Incidentally, by the way, of course, John Seal and the 55 Lamborghini, that's only got one working like well. Here comes one of the Ferraris into the pits now. And that was Jamie Stanley. I'm being looked after because in comes the 19 car. So it's the Dezeels that are in first. And I would suggest that the other Ferraris are going to be pretty sharpish after once they can clear this one out, because it looks like they're basically going to try and do one at a time.
You're going to try and stack them, I think. So,
Chris, if you have a moment, is there any chance you can talk to John Seal to see how much
He's carrying on further down one, dodged in the John. I'm brave enough to come and speak to you this time. How are you? And how was? I mean, that was a very frustrating warm-up, wasn't it, or practice session?
It was wet, that's all I can say, and it's got wetter. And it's not a good circuit for getting rid of the rain, so it's quite a few laps around.
Which, you know, as we understand, is what happened this morning. You hit the water and ankle planed off.
I wasn't even on full throttle, touched the water and just went. Never done anything like it. That's like
It is, and how did that affect you when you were out there? And I don't mean the recovering car, I mean you personally, because after things like that happen, you can kind of almost feel it happening again.
no, it didn't really affect me. I just wanted to bring the car back in for the co-driver to take over.
Yeah, absolutely, because I know you stand there getting really excited now. I mean, the car is all okay though?
Yeah, it's fine. It went round, didn't it?
It did. It was so quick in the earlier race. Well done. It's good to see this back out there, and now it's like really exciting. I mean, the decision between the tyres has thrown it up in the air anyway.
I agree. Perhaps one should have gone on wet, but hindsight is a wonderful thing.
We never know in this country, do we?
We never know.
Especially not in Norfolk, do we? But great to speak to you, John. So there we go. He has enjoyed it. The car is okay, and he's now ready to be excited watching his pro out there as well.
Handing it over to the Rapid Irishman Adam Carroll. That's dropped that Ferrari down through the order, and what it has now done is put Tom Webb's Lamborghini, the number 13 car, into the lead of the race. But of course, they are as yet to stop, and the BMW of Del Shenton now is back in the second position. So now leaving pit lane. So Josh Jackson has handed the car over to Sam Random, former Renault Clio racer. Sam, who lives in Derby, 24 years of age now, is Sam Random, but in his first season of racing with Team Hardy GT Cup. Chris.
I'm just about to doorstop Lackey. I'm not given a chance to get away. Lackey, I mean, that was some impressive driving. You made the call early. I get that Tweety Bird did say it was sort of made by a choice that happened on the warm-up lap, but it worked out.
Yeah, no, it turned out really well. Obviously, I spun on the warm-up.
You were grassed up, by the way.
100% my fault, but I couldn't get any time. Any hit my time. It went well. It went really well in the wet cell.
Yeah, I mean, that's the point. The sort of joking aside is the fact that the lap times you were doing out there were like incredible against everyone else, even after they'd gone onto the wets.
I enjoyed the wet.
Clearly. I bet you were frustrated you had to get out then.
I did. I was quite enjoying it towards the end. Actually, I could have kept going for the whole 50 minutes.
Although, you know, the rain is now, well, largely stopped. So, I mean, we've now got, you know, the confusion in the air still.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think Adam do well out there, even on wet. It's still wet enough to run wet, but it's fine to ride it on sides, by no means.
Quite exactly. Well, that would have made it interesting. Well done, Lucky. That was brilliant.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So there we go. He enjoyed that, and he'd have liked to stay out there in the monsoon conditions by the sounds of it.
Yeah, good old stint for Lucky Cristoforo, now handing the number 27 Ferrari over to Adam Carroll. That car sits there. Headed into the pit lane, the number 6 car, and also the second of the two Team Hard Ginettas, the number 79 car, is about to be handed over to Steve Chandler for part 2 of the race. Just leaving pit road is Sander Mortensen at the wheel of the Top Cats Racing Marcos Mantis, the sister car to it. I think is still as yet to pit, potentially, is it not? As it is going down in 17th position down to Frank Mortensen with Warren Gilbert on standby. Take over the car. Del Shenton's BMW is in now. That was leading very early on in the race, so that now puts the number 27 Ferrari of Adam Carroll up into second position, 31.2 seconds off the lead of the race, but lapping the best part of 2.5 seconds quicker than Tom Webb, who still needs to pit at the wheel of that number 13 Lamborghini. But say he's going solo, so matters not when he pits, as long as he does it within the window, because he's got to do it with just almost 30 minutes of the race elapses, which means there's probably only another 3.5 minutes opportunity to pit. So Chris Dawes is in the pit lane as Richard Chamberlain comes in.
Yeah, he does, and just in front of me right here is the 51 car that we're talking about. So Frank Mortensen's come in. and the person that stood at the front with a fan bellowing into the front of the car is Warren Gilbert. So it looks like he's perfectly happy that Frank's going to go and carry on and do the rest of this race. Just in front of them is indeed Richard Chamberlain. Now I'm going to just quickly nip up there because we noticed after the practice session this morning he had an incredible issue with the windscreen missing up. The good news is it's absolutely A-OK at the moment, so they're just kind of looking behind one of the wheels there. I hope that's not any kind of issue as he's gulping down a bit of water. And I look further down the pit lane here as well. We've got Brent Millage in. Remember, he's been interchanged to Wets early on. Well, he's now in for his mandatory pit stop.
And the race leader, Tom Webb's coming in.
Okay. And the Golf Evora, number 41, is in. And one of the Aston Martins, but I can't see the number, Mark. If you're able to see. It is now 72, just as you said that. They are tweaking a bit of the setup on this Porsche by the looks of it. The Richard Chamberlain, number 5.
Stop a little bit. Tom Webb is now in the pit lane area. Of course, no change of driver, so he can just stick away whilst the mechanics are just double checking the torque on the centre locking wheels that are on this Lamborghini Huracan.